Van Damme stands in front of a mirror in a cramped Hong Kong hotel room staring at his reflection. His body is covered in bruises. His knuckles are bleeding. It's 1989 and he's about to walk into a meeting that will either make him a global superstar or end his career forever. What happens in the next 90 minutes doesn't just change his life. It reveals a side of Van Damme that nobody, not even his closest friends, knew existed. The meeting is with a Hong Kong producer who's flown him in specifically to test him. Not for a movie, for something else entirely, something that will push Van Damme beyond anything he's done before. But we need to rewind 6 months to understand why Van Damme is even in this room. Los Angeles, 3 months after Bloodsport became an unexpected hit. Van Damme is sitting in his agent's office. The phone should be ringing off the hook. Studio deals should be flooding in. Instead, silence. His agent looks uncomfortable. Van Damme asks the obvious question, why isn't anyone calling? The agent leans back, choosing his words carefully. They think you're a one-hit wonder. They think Bloodsport worked because of the tournament format, not because of you. They want to see if you can carry a real film, a film with a story with characters, with something more than just fighting. Van Damme sits quietly, doesn't argue, doesn't defend himself, just asks, so what do we do? The agent slides a script across the desk. There's a producer in Hong Kong. He's worked with Jackie Chan, with Sammo Hung, with everyone. He wants to meet you, says he has a project that could prove you're more than just a fighter. But here's the catch, he wants to test you first, not a screen test, something else. He wouldn't tell me what. Van Damme picks up the script, doesn't open it, just asks, when do I leave? 48 hours later, Van Damme lands in Hong Kong. The humidity hits him like a wall. The city is chaos, neon lights, crowds pushing past each other, street vendors shouting in Cantonese, the smell of cooking oil and exhaust fumes mixing in the thick air. He's never been to Asia before, never experienced anything like this. A driver is waiting at the airport holding a sign with his name spelled wrong. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Van Damme doesn't correct him, just gets in the car. They drive through the city, past skyscrapers, past markets, past neighborhoods that look nothing like Los Angeles. The driver doesn't speak English. Van Damme doesn't speak Cantonese. They sit in silence. The car stops in front of an old building, not a studio, not an office, something else. The driver points up. Van Damme gets out, looks at the building, no signs, no indication of what's inside, just a door and a narrow staircase leading up. He climbs, 4th floor, 5th, 6th. The stairs are steep, poorly lit. He can hear sounds from above, grunting, impact. The unmistakable sound of bodies hitting pads. 7th floor, a door, he pushes it open. What he sees stops him completely. It's a training facility, but not like any gym Van Damme has ever seen. The space is massive, taking up the entire floor. No mirrors, no weights, no machines, just open space, wooden floors worn smooth from decades of use, and about 30 people training. Martial artists, real martial artists, not actors, not stuntmen, fighters. They're working through forms, sparring, drilling techniques. The intensity is immediate, nobody's performing, nobody's showing off. They're training like their lives depend on it. A man walks toward Van Damme. Late 50s Chinese compact build, moving with the kind of efficiency that only comes from a lifetime of practice. He extends his hand. Mr. Van Damme, I'm Lau, thank you for coming. Van Damme shakes his hand. Lau's grip is surprisingly strong. Your agent said you wanted to test me. Lau nods. Yes, but not the way you think. I don't need to see you fight. I've seen Bloodsport. I know you can fight. What I need to know is if you can learn. Van Damme furrows his brow. Learn what? Everything you don't know. The statement hangs in the air. Van Damme processes it. He's trained since he was 10 years old. Karate, kickboxing, Muay Thai, bodybuilding. He's won championships. He's proven himself. And now this man is telling him he doesn't know enough. But instead of getting defensive, Van Damme asks, what do I need to learn? Lau smiles slightly. It's the first genuine emotion he's shown. Come, I'll show you. Lau leads Van Damme across the training floor. The other martial artists glance over curious but don't stop training. Lau explains as they walk. In Hong Kong, action cinema isn't just about fighting, it's about storytelling through movement. Jackie Chan doesn't just punch someone, he uses the environment, the props, the space. Every action has purpose, has rhythm, has comedy or drama or emotion. You fight well, but can you tell a story while fighting? They reach the far end of the space. There's a setup that looks like a film set. Furniture, props, fake walls. Lau gestures to it. This is your test. I want you to create a fight scene right now. Use everything in this space. Show me you understand that fighting on film is different from fighting in a tournament. Show me you can think like a filmmaker, not just like a fighter. Van Damme looks at the setup. Tables, chairs, bottles, bamboo poles, a ladder, various objects scattered around. He's never done anything like this. In Bloodsport, the fights were in a ring. Straightforward, this is different. This requires creativity, but he doesn't hesitate, doesn't ask for time to prepare, just says, okay, do you have someone who can work with me? Lau calls over one of the martial artists. Young guy, early 20s, lean, fast. He introduces himself as Chen, doesn't speak English. Lau will translate. Van Damme walks into the setup, starts examining the space, touching objects, testing their weight, their balance. His mind is working. He can feel Lau watching him. This is the test, not just can he move, can he create. He turns to Chen, uses hand gestures to communicate. Chen nods, understanding. They start slowly working through ideas. Van Damme picks up a chair, shows Chen how he'll swing it. Chen demonstrates how he'll duck. They add more, a kick, a counter, using the table, using the bamboo pole. What starts as simple choreography begins to evolve into something more. Van Damme isn't just thinking about the moves. He's thinking about the camera angles, the rhythm, the story. Why are these two characters fighting? What's at stake? How does the environment reflect the conflict? Lau watches in silence. The other martial artists have stopped training now. They're all watching Van Damme and Chen work through this fight. It's taking shape, it's becoming real. After 30 minutes, Van Damme is ready. He's drenched in sweat, not from exertion, from concentration. He looks at Lau. We're ready. Lau nods. Show me. Van Damme and Chen run the sequence. It's rough, it's improvised, but it works. Van Damme uses the chair not just as a weapon but as a shield. He uses the table to create separation, then to vault over. He uses the bamboo pole to disarm, to trip, to control distance. And through it all there's a story, two fighters evenly matched, neither willing to give up, both using everything available to gain advantage. The sequence ends with Van Damme and Chen both on the ground, exhausted at a stalemate. It's not a clean victory, it's messy, real, human. The room is silent for a moment. Then Lau starts clapping. Slowly, the other martial artists join in. Lau walks over to Van Damme, helps him up. You understand, most Western action stars don't understand. They think action is about looking strong. You understand it's about storytelling. Van Damme is breathing hard, but he's smiling. So I passed your test. Lau nods. You passed, but now the real work begins. What Lau explains next changes everything Van Damme thought he knew about action filmmaking. I want you to stay here in Hong Kong for 3 months, train with us, learn our methods, learn how we shoot action, learn how we choreograph, learn how we use wire work, how we use camera angles, how we create sequences that audiences have never seen before. Then we make a film. A film that combines Western martial arts with Hong Kong cinema style. A film that proves you're not just a fighter, you're an artist. Van Damme doesn't hesitate. When do we start? Tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. The next 3 months are the most intense of Van Damme's life. Not because of the physical training, he's used to that, but because of everything else. Learning to think in sequences instead of single moves. Learning to work with wire harnesses that allow impossible movements. Learning to trust the stunt team, the choreographers, the camera operators. Every morning, 5 a.m., Van Damme is on that 7th floor, training with martial artists who have worked on every major Hong Kong action film of the past decade. They don't speak the same language, but they don't need to. Movement is universal. Lau pushes him constantly. Faster, more creative, less impressive, more effective. Think about the story. What is your character feeling in this moment? One day, about 6 weeks in, Van Damme is struggling with a wire sequence. He's supposed to flip backwards off a wall, spin midair, land in a fighting stance. He's done it 20 times, it's not working. He keeps landing wrong, losing balance. He's frustrated, angry at himself. Lau walks over, doesn't say anything, just watches. Van Damme tries again, falls again. Finally, Van Damme rips off the wire harness, throws it down. I can't do this, I'm not Jackie Chan, I'm not a Hong Kong stuntman, I'm just a fighter. Lau picks up the harness, hands it back to Van Damme. You're right, you're not Jackie Chan, and that's good. The world doesn't need another Jackie Chan. The world needs Van Damme, but Van Damme who's willing to grow. Van Damme who's willing to fail. Van Damme who understands that mastery means always being a student. Van Damme takes the harness, puts it back on, tries again, still not perfect, but better. By the end of 3 months, Van Damme has transformed. Not physically, his body is the same, but mentally, creatively, artistically, he's different. He sees action differently, sees filmmaking differently, sees himself differently. The final test comes on the last day. Lau has set up a complete fight sequence. Full production crew, cameras, lighting, everything. Van Damme will perform a 5-minute fight scene, one take, no cuts. Everything he's learned in 3 months will be tested. The scene is complex. Multiple opponents, multiple environments, multiple weapons, wire work, practical stunts, everything. Van Damme has rehearsed it, but rehearsal is different from performance. The crew sets up, Lau calls action, Van Damme moves, and what happens in the next 5 minutes is magic. He's not thinking anymore, he's just doing. Every technique, every principle, every lesson from the past 3 months flows through him naturally. He uses the environment, he tells the story, he creates moments of tension, of release, of surprise. When it's over, the crew erupts in applause. Van Damme is bent over, hands on knees, gasping for air. Lau walks over, puts a hand on his shoulder. That's the Van Damme the world needs to see. But here's what nobody knows. That footage never made it into a film. The project fell apart due to financing issues. All that work, all that growth, all those 3 months resulted in nothing Hollywood would ever see. Van Damme flies back to Los Angeles expecting to feel defeated. Instead, he feels empowered. He didn't gain a film credit. He gained something more valuable, a complete transformation in how he approaches his craft. 2 months later, Van Damme gets the call that will make him a global superstar. The script for Kickboxer, he reads it, sees immediately how to apply everything he learned in Hong Kong. The training sequences, the fight choreography, the emotional arc. He can see the entire film in his mind, not as a series of fights but as a story told through action. He calls his agent, tell them yes, but I want creative input on the fight choreography. The studio agrees. Kickboxer becomes a massive hit. Not just because of Van Damme's physical skills, because of his artistic vision. The training montage, the final fight, the use of environment and props, the rhythm and packing, all of it influenced by those 3 months in Hong Kong. Years later, a journalist asks Van Damme about his creative process, about how he approaches fight choreography. Van Damme pauses, thinks about that 7th floor training facility in Hong Kong, about Lau, about those 3 months that nobody knows about. He says people think action stars are just tough guys who can kick high. But real action is art, it's dance, it's storytelling. I learned that from masters who never got famous, who never made Hollywood films, but who understood something deeper about what we do. The journalist asks where he learned this. Van Damme just smiles. From people who taught me that being the best fighter means being the best student. In 1991, Van Damme stands between two moving trucks for that famous Volvo commercial. The split that becomes iconic. People think it's just an impressive physical feat, and it is, but for Van Damme it represents something more. It represents every impossible thing he was told he couldn't do, every test he had to pass, every moment he had to prove he was more than just a fighter, every teacher who pushed him beyond his limits. As the trucks move apart and Van Damme's legs extend into that perfect split, he's not thinking about the cameras or the commercial or the millions of people who will see this. He's thinking about a seventh-floor training facility in Hong Kong, about Lau telling him that mastery means always being a student, about 3 months that transformed him from a fighter into an artist. The split holds perfect, impossible, real, and somewhere in Hong Kong Lau is watching the commercial with his students. He turns to them and says in Cantonese, "That's my student, he learned well." None of them believe him. Van Damme never credited Lau publicly, never mentioned those 3 months. Never told anyone about the test that changed everything. But Lau doesn't need credit, he knows, and Van Damme knows, and that's enough, because the real test wasn't whether Van Damme could do a split between 2 trucks. The real test was whether he could transform himself from someone who fights into someone who creates, whether he could take everything he thought he knew and break it down and rebuild it into something greater. He passed that test in a Hong Kong training facility nobody's ever heard of, working with masters nobody knows, learning lessons he still uses today. That's the story nobody tells. The 3 months that made Van Damme into the artist he became, not the movies, not the fame, not the success. 3 months of failing, learning, growing, transforming. So here's the question, what's your Hong Kong? What's the place you need to go, the teacher you need to find, the test you need to pass that will transform you from competent into exceptional? From someone who can do the job into someone who can create art. Because that place exists, that teacher exists, that test exists. Van Damme found his in a 7th-floor training facility in Hong Kong where nobody spoke his language but everyone understood that mastery requires humility. Where's yours? And more importantly, are you willing to spend 3 months of invisible work for a transformation nobody will see but everyone will feel? That's the real split. Not the physical one between 2 trucks, the internal one between who you are and who you could become. Van Damme made that split, and it changed everything.